All right. So this is Matt Weatherby, Vegan to Power, and today I wanted to talk about how it's kind of annoying how oversimplified a lot of vegans make things seem. And it's kind of funny because I love simplicity. I think simplicity is the key to brilliance, and I always try to make my life as simple as possible and look at things as simply as possible, because I think a lot of times we overcomplicate things and overanalyze things and make things way more challenging and difficult than they have to be by failing to see the simplicity. But as far as veganism goes, in my own personal experience, it really wasn't just simple. Like, I've watched quite a few videos in the last 4 months or so since I went vegan, and you know, if you go to like some PETA websites and stuff, you'll see some big strong athletes and powerlifters and whatnot that push themselves really hard and push big loads and stuff on a vegan diet. So it can obviously be done, and I feel like I'm finally making a breakthrough and doing good. I just, like 2 weeks ago or so, maybe I finally broke out of my funk and started going forward again, and I'm feeling really good. But like a lot of these videos I watched one last night. There was this pretty little woman. Like, it's not easy to accurately assess someone from a video, but she was small, she was petite. To me, she looked like she was maybe 100 pounds, but maybe the camera made her look shorter than she really was. But the point is, she was this little tiny person. And when you see this little tiny beautiful person who does whatever it is little tiny beautiful people do, and she's going off on how she didn't wither away because she didn't have enough protein, you're thinking, dude, your little tiny 100-pound body doesn't require the same amount of nutrition and calories and protein as my 220-pound body that's moving 300-pound, 400-pound plus loads all the time. So yeah, it's a majority of vegans don't do intense strength training type stuff. Even a lot of the athletes would be more like Durian Ryder, where they're doing like healthy cardio endurance type stuff, like all his bicycling. There isn't a lot of us right now that are strength training, although a little trend has started maybe in the last half a year or so where quite a few people are. Like, Vegan Gains came on about February or so, and then you see like the two Venus brothers, and the Hodge twins just recently went vegetarian, and there are a couple other big names that did the same thing. So there's more and more people that are doing that. Obviously, Patrick was doing stuff before all these people, and he's the one that inspired me the most, because he's like big and strong. He's like so strong, he's moving crazy loads, the kind of loads you wish you could be lifting regardless of whether you eat meat or not. Obviously there's other world-class strong people in the world that can do stuff as heavier than him, but the point is, he did something that just totally destroyed any like prejudices I had against veganism just being a bunch of weaklings. He's definitely not weak by any stretch of the imagination. So But my point here about the oversimplification is that when I went vegetarian at the beginning of 2015, I had a lot of issues. Like the first couple weeks, I felt great. I felt better than I did before going vegetarian. I was still strong. My system felt cleaner. I felt like I had more energy. I felt like my head was clearer. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been lied to all these years. But then I started to crash, and I crashed pretty hard, and I only toughed it out about 4 or 5 months, and then I was like, you know what, this is ridiculous. I only live once. This isn't working. I'm getting weak, and I got frustrated. But it made a big impact on me, on how I viewed things. Like, I definitely didn't go back to my old ways. I wasn't a vegetarian anymore, but I was way more conscious of what I was doing. I was way more focused on eating the grass-fed meats and stuff that weren't from the meat industry, and I tried to have a lot less meat, and it was a lot different than it was prior to that change, because it opened my eyes to some things. And then I don't remember, like, I was reading Tony Robbins, and I was reading his really old book, Unlimited Power. It's like his first kind of big classic that's still like widely circulating. I think he may have written some books even earlier than that, but this is the first one that met any success. And that inspired me to go vegan again. And last time I didn't go vegan, I went vegetarian because I wanted to be able to eat a lot of the stuff at work. But this time I'm like, forget it, I'll just do what I gotta do. And so I went vegan instead of vegetarian, although I wouldn't consider myself an extremely strict, hardcore vegetarian, like, but I'm a extremely hardcore vegan, but I am mostly vegan. Anyway, this time I didn't want to do what I did last time, so I went online and tried to study all the pitfalls and stuff, and that's why I made my videos like on zinc and calcium and iron and B12 and all that. And I tried to make sure I had all that, and I was studying hormones and stuff, because it's probably not like this for most people, but I had a high metabolism, so I ate a lot. So when I had full range and could eat anything I wanted, I managed to get all my vitamins and nutrients and whatnot without taking any supplements. And I think it's just because of the insane quantity of food I had. But then when I went vegan, I didn't do the same thing because there was less variety. I was more in one type of food, and so I was missing some of the things. And there were probably a lot of unhealthy things I wasn't consuming, but even though I studied all the things I did and I was trying to make sure I had my healthy oils and fats to produce hormones and stuff, I still had issues. And what saved me was having a friend who had been a vegan for about a decade and lived a similar lifestyle to me. He's a martial artist. He strength trains with free weights and stuff. So he helped me a whole lot more than all the stuff I searched for on the internet. And so my whole point with this video is, if you're a strength trainer, if you're not just some person that has found different outlets in life, because I know some people like to focus on love or spending time with their family or reading or building their intelligence or building their wealth, and there's a lot of things you can do to make a worthwhile life. But if it's not the type of life that is just super physically intense, you could probably get away with a lot more. But when you push yourself super hard physically, a lot of the stuff that you hear out in the vegan community doesn't apply to you. It just doesn't. Because I'd been feeling like Superman my whole life, and granted, I'm 40 now, so things had started to decline a little. I wasn't quite the man I once was, but I still was feeling really good in everyday life. Like, my performance had dropped in the gym, but in martial arts I was still Superman, and in everyday life I was still Superman, because that stuff was so much easier than the stuff you do in the gym. Like, you don't deal with 400 or 500 pounds very much in everyday life, but in the gym you can deal with as high a weight as they have the plates to fit on the bar. So It's, unless you're like extremely gifted and world class, normally there's more weight in the gym than you can move. So your own physical potential is the limit of how heavy you can go. But in the real world, things are normally lighter than that. But yeah, I fell apart. I really did this last time, even though I was taking care of my fats and my calcium and my zinc and my B12 and all these different things. It was horrible, man. My joints got all stiff. I couldn't like bend down. So it was messing not just with my gym time, but it's messing with my martial arts. And then it was messing with my sleep, because every night I'd go to bed and then my back would get worse and worse and worse and more painful until I couldn't sleep anymore. And I am one of those people that gets more sleep than normal. Like, everybody has different needs, and I seem to be one of those people that needs 9 hours. Tend to be in that range. And man, I was getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, because that's about how long it took for my back to get so bad that I could no longer sleep. And then I would have to spend about 30 minutes to an hour loosening it up and getting it, because I was all stiff and everything hurt and I was immobile. And this happened after going vegan. When I talked to my friend, the one who actually had been vegan instead of just looking stuff up online, he told me a lot of really helpful things, and now I'm doing really good. And I mean, you can see the video I posted today of me doing my dumbbell bench press at the gym, and my squats and deadlifts are over 400 again, which that wouldn't have been very impressive to me like a while back. But in light of how far I fell, I'm happy to be in that range again. So I'm just saying, it's good to have some vegan friends that do what you do. And if you don't have access to that and you're having some issues and questions, I'll do my best to help you. If you contact me by private message or underneath one of my videos or something, I get those notifications every time I log in of if I got new messages or something, and I'll do my best to be of help. So I'm just letting you know that it may not be as simple as vegans make it out to be. And if you're one of the vegans doing that, understand that maybe you're doing a disservice to certain people that are living a more intense lifestyle than you.